chosen one. You have come to these words not merely to receive another passing comfort, but to recognize that the time has come for what has been hidden in your finances, your family, and the road ahead of you to be seen in a clearer light. Therefore, before going any further, I want you to slow down, take a deep breath, and gently release it. Allow the worries clinging to your mind to become still for a moment. I know you have carried too many responsibilities for far too long, to the point that even when you were exhausted, you still tried to appear well. Even when your heart was filled with wounds that had not yet healed, you still chose to smile so that others would not have to worry. You have passed through many days with a strength no one could see, and there were moments when you forgot what it felt like to rest in peace. But, my beloved child, what you have endured has not made you invisible before me. Every sleepless night, every time you had to lift yourself up again, and every question you were afraid to speak aloud has been seen by me with compassion. This message has not been sent to frighten you, nor to make you suspicious of everyone around you. I have come to teach you discernment and help you see circumstances through wisdom rather than confusion. Some things have been delayed, not because you are unworthy, nor because you failed so greatly that every door has been closed. Many times, you blamed yourself for matters that were not entirely within your control. You thought you were not capable enough, fast enough, strong enough, or that you must have done something wrong, when the truth is that you were walking through complex influences that were never fully revealed to you. I do not want you to continue carrying responsibility for the choices of others. I want you to understand that delay is not always a sign of rejection. Sometimes it is an invitation to look more carefully at the relationships, agreements, and doors you have trusted for too long. The curtain is gradually being drawn aside, but the truth will not come to destroy you. It will come to release you from false conclusions, invisible bonds, and feelings of guilt that were never yours to carry. In financial matters, there may have been information withheld, opportunities that were never passed on to you, rights or benefits that were never clearly explained, or decisions made behind your back. Within your family, you may have become so accustomed to remaining silent in order to preserve peace that others began to treat your patience as agreement. As for your future, you may have allowed the words of someone close to you to become the boundary of what you believed you were capable of achieving. I will not reveal everything in a single moment merely to satisfy your curiosity. I will uncover it, layer by layer, enough for you to see, enough for you to prepare, and enough so that you will not be overwhelmed by what must be faced. Remember that not everyone who sits at the same table with you understands the value of what you carry. Someone may have spoken your name tenderly and appeared concerned about your future, while inwardly fearing that one day you would move beyond their control. Someone may not have directly taken what belonged to you, yet they delayed information, planted doubt, weakened your confidence, or convinced you that you were not ready. They may have used familiarity to keep you in a position that benefited them, while you, because of trust, did not ask questions. However, I am not saying this so that you will immediately accuse anyone. Suspicion without evidence can also injure innocent people and steal your own peace. Therefore, allow the truth to be confirmed through evidence, repeated behavior, and clear results. Do not listen only to words. Observe how people respond when you begin establishing boundaries, when you ask for transparency, and when you desire to make your own decisions. If you feel these words touching something deep within you, receive that stirring as an invitation to awaken, not as pressure to act hastily. The same is true of giving. Generosity becomes beautiful only when it flows from freedom, gratitude, and wise consideration, not from the fear that your blessing will leave you if you do not give. You do not need to use money to purchase the love of heaven, nor do you need to prove your faith through a contribution beyond your means. When you support work that has brought value, do so because you genuinely appreciate the good it has produced. A small act carried out with sincerity and within the peace of your ability is still more precious than a large offering filled with anxiety. I want you to learn how to give without being manipulated and how to receive without feeling indebted. What I now want to remind you is that the delays surrounding you may bear the marks of intentional interference. Someone you once trusted may have influenced important decisions, concealed part of the truth, or quietly prevented you from accessing information you had a right to know. It may involve an inheritance, property, employment, documents, a family promise, or an opportunity that was redirected. But before confronting anyone, gather information calmly. Review the documents, ask clear questions, seek advice from qualified professionals, and do not sign anything you do not fully understand. Wisdom is not loud. It observes, verifies, and acts at the right time. I do not want you to rush into confrontation based only on emotion and then allow others to use your impulsiveness against you. The truth will be far more powerful when you walk with it calmly. Even so, do not allow the possibility of betrayal to close your heart to all love. Someone may have disappointed you, but not everyone comes to take something away. There are people who will appear to help you understand documents, reopen a delayed conversation, connect you with a new opportunity, or confirm what you have sensed for a long time. Learn to distinguish between the person who makes you dependent and the person who helps you become stronger. Someone who truly loves you will not fear your knowing the truth, will not prevent your growth, and will not make you feel guilty merely because you want a voice in your own life. Genuine care produces clarity. Control usually produces confusion. When you recognize that difference, many things that once bewildered you will begin to make sense. I am leading you out of a season of self-blame and into a season of understanding. What was once locked does not have to remain closed forever, and what was withheld cannot remain permanently beyond the reach of truth. Yet a new door becomes a genuine blessing only when you have matured enough to pass through it without carrying bitterness. Therefore, keep your heart tender but your eyes awake. Be generous, but do not allow yourself to be exploited. Forgive, but do not abandon your boundaries. Listen to your intuition, but always verify it through truth. You do not need to take revenge on those who tried to hold you back. Your maturity, freedom, and peace will be the strongest answer. My beloved child, the days ahead may bring a conversation, a document, a confession, or a small detail that changes the way you understand the entire story. When that happens, do not panic. Remember that the truth is appearing not to break you, but to restore the parts that have been displaced. I will be with you when you must choose what to keep, what to release, and who may no longer make decisions on your behalf. You have lived in uncertainty long enough. Now walk with dignity, investigate with care, and trust that what truly belongs to you will not have to be reclaimed through destruction. I will teach you to regain authority over your own life in peace. so that from this moment forward, you will no longer live beneath anyone's shadow, but stand firmly in the light, maturity, and noble worth that have always existed within you. Darkness trembles before the day you truly recognize who you are, because once you fully awaken to the value, mission, and strength placed within you, the things that once bound you will no longer possess enough power to prevent you from entering the purpose prepared for your life. I know you have endured months beneath the weight of doubt, wondering why you had to pass through so many trials, while others seemed to walk along smoother roads. But, my beloved child, what you have experienced is not evidence that you were abandoned. It is because you carry a great calling that you have had to learn how to stand firm amid winds that others have never known. What rose against you was never aimed only at your present circumstances. It sought to make you forget your future and lose faith before the door of restoration could open. Therefore, I draw near to you today to remind you that the battle does not prove you are weak. It proves that something precious exists within you, that darkness does not want to see awakened and shining. In the hours when you sat alone, trying to keep your face composed so that no one would know how deeply your heart was hurting, a mother's love continued to reach toward you with immeasurable tenderness. There were tears you wiped away quickly because you feared someone might see them. Nights when you turned your face into the darkness so that your sorrow would not trouble anyone. And questions you never spoke because you believed no one could understand. Yet true love does not require an explanation in order to recognize your weariness. That love saw you from your earliest days when you were still fragile. It recognized your sigh among countless sounds. And although the distance between different realms of existence means that you can no longer touch those familiar hands, the goodness your mother planted within you has never left. It remains in the way you care for others, in the patience you show to those who are discouraged, and in the courage you display whenever you rise again, after a day that seemed impossible to endure. I want you to understand that none of your experiences have been wasted. Every time you stumbled, taught your feet how to stand more firmly. Every time you were misunderstood, helped you appreciate sincerity more deeply. Every betrayal opened your eyes to recognize who was truly worthy of entering the most private places of your life. Some events made you feel as though everything good had been torn from your hands, but from those broken places, you began building a stronger version of yourself. I do not call pain good, nor do I ask you to pretend to be grateful for those who harmed you. I only want you to recognize that they have no authority to write the ending of your story. What they did may have left marks, but those marks are not your destiny. You still have the right to choose healing, growth, and forward movement without carrying bitterness as a lifelong burden. There were nights when you questioned whether your prayers had been heard. You looked into the silent distance and wondered why no answer arrived when you needed it most. Yet silence does not mean absence. While you believed, everything was standing still and many things were being arranged beyond your sight. Some doors had to close before the right one could open. Certain connections had to leave so that you would no longer be held inside an old cycle. Some habits had to be removed so that you could receive something new without destroying it with your own hands. I was present in every moment when you thought you had no one, carrying you through the days when you did not know how to continue. Even the endurance you believed came only from your own willpower was evidence that grace was quietly protecting you. The betrayals that pierced your heart have not been treated lightly. I know what it feels like. When someone you trusted turns away, when a promise that once gave you hope becomes the very thing that causes your deepest pain. I know you questioned where you had gone wrong, whether you had been too innocent, too trusting, or simply not good enough to deserve kindness. But you do not need to accept responsibility for another person's dishonesty. Your sincerity was not a mistake, and your ability to love is not something shameful. What you must learn is not to close your heart completely, but to place wise boundaries around it. Allow your kindness to be guided by discernment, so that you may continue loving without abandoning yourself, and forgive without returning to a place that repeatedly destroys your peace. A new season is now drawing near, not to erase the past as though it never existed, but to transform what you endured into the foundation of a deeper life. The greatest miracle does not always arrive with spectacular noise. Sometimes it begins when you awaken and realize that you are no longer afraid of what once made you tremble. It appears when you can speak of an old memory without allowing that memory to control you. It becomes visible when you dare to open your heart to a new opportunity, even though you have been disappointed before. Your restoration will be seen through the greater peace in your eyes, through the way you walk without bowing your head beneath judgment, and through the quiet confidence of someone who knows that their worth does not depend upon whether others accept or reject them. I also want you to prepare yourself to receive what is good without feeling guilty. You have become so accustomed to fighting that peace itself may sometimes make you uncomfortable. You have lived in a state of caution for so long that when a wholesome door opens, you may suspect there must be a trap behind it. But not everything that comes to you intends to hurt you. There are people who will enter your life with honesty. There are opportunities that will not require you to sacrifice your dignity. There are seasons in which you do not have to live in constant tension in order to grow. Learn how to receive kindness, allow yourself to rest, and do not destroy good things simply because they are different from what you have known before. When change begins to appear, do not use it to prove anything to those who once looked down upon you. Your restoration does not need to become a performance. Those who opposed you may become silent when they see that you were not destroyed as they expected, but true victory is not found in their surprise. Victory is found in no longer living to seek recognition from the people who wounded you. It is found in the freedom you gain when you no longer need someone else to regret what they did before you can have peace. Let the fruit of your life speak with humility, and let your renewed life become the gentlest yet most powerful response. You do not need revenge, because continuing to grow, live kindly, and preserve the goodness of your character is already a clear enough answer. A mother's love continues to remind you that you were not born to live forever beneath the shadow of loss. What she taught you, the encouragement she gave, and every time she embraced you with tenderness, continue to live through the good choices you make today. Carry that love forward, not as a sorrow that keeps you tied to the past, but as a lamp that helps you walk through roads you have not yet known. When you feel weak, remember that you were once loved by a love that did not require you to be perfect. When you question your worth, remember that someone once looked upon you as the most precious gift. When you fear that you cannot continue, understand that the goodness planted within you is still growing, even during the seasons when you believe you have nothing left to give. I am here to tell you that the time of self-condemnation has ended. You no longer need to carry old mistakes like a sentence with no release date. You do not have to continue living in the identity of a wounded person, merely because that role has become familiar. Rise with all the gentleness you can offer yourself. Walk slowly if necessary, but do not return to the place that caused you to forget who you are. Your struggles have been woven into a greater picture, and every dark thread will make the light behind it appear more clearly. The good that is coming is not intended to deny what you have suffered, but to prove that pain does not have the final word. My beloved child, open your heart to the new day. Your renewal is beginning. And when you fully awaken to the strength, wisdom, and purpose placed within you, no voice from your past will ever make you feel small again. My beloved child, the heaviness pressing upon your chest may be a reminder that something unresolved needs to be examined with calmness, wisdom, and honesty. I do not want you to hastily call it a mystical sign, nor do I want you to neglect your emotional or physical health. If the discomfort continues, becomes severe, or causes difficulty breathing, seek appropriate medical assistance, because caring for yourself does not make your faith weaker. At the same time, if a question remains deep within you concerning rights, property, or family history that has never been clearly explained, I do not want you to keep running from it. Some truths do not arrive with thunder. They begin with a concern that has returned for years, a missing part of the story, a document you have never seen, or an explanation that is always avoided. You do not need to be afraid, but you do need to remain alert. I am reminding you that genuine guidance does not push you into suspecting everyone, nor does it create an obsession that all those close to you are working against you. Light always leads toward clarity, order, and verification. Therefore, if you believe something involving money, real estate, accounts, or inheritance rights has not been transparent, begin with small but concrete steps. Review old records, correspondence, certificates, wills, contracts, bank notices, or family documents that you are legally entitled to access. Write down what you know, what you are merely assuming, and where information is still missing. Do not mix intuition with confirmed facts. I want you to learn how to distinguish between what makes you anxious and what can actually be demonstrated, because wisdom is not afraid of questions. But neither does it reach conclusions without evidence. You should also take time to listen to yourself more deeply. Sometimes, feelings of unease do not arise only from external circumstances, but from memories, experiences, or old beliefs that have not yet been healed. When you take time to write down your thoughts, or speak with someone trustworthy, you may discover that many things that seemed vague can gradually become clearer. Clarity does not always arrive in a single moment. It is built through small steps of patience and honesty with yourself. You may have often felt that your life was being delayed, as though each time you were about to reach a new step, another unexpected obstacle appeared. You watched others move forward more easily, while you had to travel through long and confusing detours. But I want you to be careful. Not every delay was caused by someone deliberately blocking you. Some seasons required you to learn skills, change decisions, rebuild confidence, or establish a stronger foundation. However, there are also real-life situations in which rights are overlooked, documents are mishandled, information is withheld, or old agreements are never clearly explained. The right response is not to guess who is guilty, but to go where the truth can be examined. A trustworthy attorney, a licensed financial professional, or an official records office may help you understand what emotions alone cannot determine. If you one day discover that your name was excluded from an important document, that a right was transferred without transparency, or that a record shows signs of irregularity, I want you to remain calm. Do not confront anyone in anger, do not threaten, and do not publicly accuse before receiving appropriate advice. Someone who has been harmed often wants justice immediately, but haste can damage the very opportunity you are trying to protect. Make copies of documents, record dates, preserve lawful communications, and seek qualified guidance. The truth is not so weak that it requires shouting to support it. When you have clear evidence, you can act with order, respect, and courage. Lasting justice is not built upon anger, but upon accuracy. I also want you to remember that the person who harmed you, if there truly is such a person, may be someone you once trusted. This makes the pain deeper, because betrayal by a stranger does not weigh as heavily as deception from someone who knew your joy, your tears, and your weaknesses. But you must not allow that possibility to turn you into someone who suspects everyone. Some people genuinely love you, but do not know the complete story. Some remained silent because they feared conflict, not because they were involved. Others may indeed have acted selfishly or dishonestly. You must evaluate each person through actions, documents, and consistency, rather than through feelings alone. I do not teach you to be naive, but neither do I want your heart to become a permanently locked room. As you investigate, ask yourself 3 questions. Is what I believe based upon specific facts? Will what I am about to do protect my dignity and my rights? Will my actions bring me closer to the truth, or merely make my fear grow? These 3 questions will keep you from becoming trapped in endless speculation. You may sense that something is wrong without yet understanding the cause, but that feeling should serve only as an invitation to investigate, not as a sentence against another person. Your maturity is shown in your ability to listen to your intuition, while still allowing reason, evidence, and professional counsel to speak. Remember that the search for truth is also a journey of inner growth. When you face matters that remain unclear, you are learning how to stand firm in uncertainty. This is not easy, but it helps you become stronger, wiser, and less controlled by invisible fear. Every step you take, however small, contributes to the building of a stable foundation for your future. I want you to enter this season with a steady heart. You may discover that what you feared was not true, and then you will be released from an unnecessary burden. You may also uncover a genuine error that needs to be corrected. Whatever the result, you still triumph when you choose truth over panic. Do not allow sensational words to convince you that a feeling of heaviness alone is enough to conclude that property was stolen or documents were altered. You deserve greater clarity than that. You deserve to know what is true, what is merely fear, and what must be addressed through legal means. Therefore, lift your head, my beloved child. I am not leading you into confusion. I am guiding you toward clarity. Care for your health. Examine the documents you are entitled to review. Seek trustworthy advisors and keep every step rooted in peace. Do not allow anyone to make you feel small, but neither allow an unverified warning to turn you into a prisoner of suspicion. What truly belongs to you will be protected most effectively when you act with a clear mind, patience, and integrity. You do not need to fear darkness, because the strongest light is not a dramatic declaration, but verified truth and a heart that remains pure while seeking justice. Finally, I want you to understand that you are not alone on this journey. Even as you face uncertainty, suspicion, or unanswered questions, there are still resources, people, and opportunities ready to support you when you are willing to seek them. Do not be afraid to ask questions, do not be afraid to learn, and do not be afraid to change your perspective when new information becomes available. Flexibility in your thinking will help you avoid hasty conclusions and keep your mind clear. Continue walking with determination and trust in your own ability to discern. When you bring together intuition, reason, and the right support, you will find a path clearer than ever before. When the truth is illuminated, you will realize that your greatest strength does not lie in knowing everything immediately, but in continuing to seek with an honest heart and an unyielding spirit.